Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Everlasting Summer. I believe we're on part number 10. Part number 10, if memory serves correct. Or maybe 9, I don't know. Either way, last time left on a little bit of a cliffhanger here. So we have two options. Eat the apple that was mysteriously placed here, or do not eat the apple. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not having the best day. It a bit rough, so I don't really have a fear of death right now, so I'm going to eat this mysterious apple. Also, I was really hungry in the game, so I figured, hey, why not eat it? Finally, hunger prevailed, and I started chewing on the ripe green apple with gusto. Gusto's my boyfriend. It taste seemed normal, though I don't think that even the strongest poison can be tasted. But it's too late to think about that. It was time to go for dinner. Along the way, I ran into Electro Nick. How's it going? Did you find Shurik? No. Still no sign of him. Don't worry. We'll find him. I tried to cheer him up. Too much time has passed. I'll just keep on searching. What about dinner? No. Finding Shurik is more important, he muttered thoughtfully. I left him at the crossroads and wished him good luck. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I quickened my pace, trying not to be the last one in the line, at least for today. And I was lucky. In the far corner was an absolutely empty table. I took my dinner quickly and sat at the table. Tonight's dinner consisted of fruit soup and a pair of buns. I've never heard of fruit soup. Must be a Russian delicacy. This set surprised me at first, but the taste was actually nice. I concentrated on eating. Lena, let's go here. Look, 3 free chairs. Lena and Miku stood in front of me. Are these taken? Wondered Lena. No, take a seat. Of course, I wish you were alone. Thank you. As soon as Lena said that, Xenia jumped out from behind her back. I'll sit here. There are no places left, she said, putting her tray on a table and sitting down, not even waiting for my answer. Sure, make yourself at home, I muttered sorrowfully. What? Nothing. To tell the truth, I want to reduce the whole company to just Lena, though neither Miku nor Xenia were causing much trouble, except one was too talkative and the other was too arrogant. But nevertheless, they were absolutely harmless, especially comparing to some others I could name. Oh, seems like I forgot my key. Don't worry, take mine. I was surprised by Miku's short reply. Do you live together? Of course. Didn't you know? Together. Our cabin is the rearmost. The farthest from here. The last one. I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody told me that Lena lived with Slavia. Or Xenia at the worst. Even Electro Nick. But silent and shy Lena and excessively talkative Miku as a pair? That's really a surprise. Did you find Shurik? It's strange that Xenia is disturbed by someone's problems. No. Surely he is at the village buying cigarettes. Or vodka. She snorted. Village? At that moment, the conversation got much more interesting. Got a problem with villages? Well, in fact, I have some PTSD surrounding Minecraft villages, so this was very uncalled for, Xenia. Xenia looked amazed. You mean there's a village nearby? I think so, she said uncertainly. I looked at Lena and Miku, but they were busy with their meals and did not pay attention to our convo. You mean you don't know exactly? Why should I care? Xenia stared at her dish. But there must be something nearby. Listen. Listening. I don't know. Will you let me eat? Seems like I won't get anything from her. though there is a chance that she really doesn't know. The remaining time was spent listening to Miku talking about some nonsense. I was just going slowly mad in silence. Obviously, the first thing I did after getting out after that was inhale a great breath of fresh air. The sun was setting. I decided to take a walk, like a passion pit. It's highly unlikely that I will find anything more exciting to do for the rest of the evening. That way, something interesting could arise quite unexpectedly. I was approaching the square when I heard a loud bang and Eliza's theme music playing in the background. It seemed like something had exploded. I was paralyzed. Oh, yeah, we gave her activated carbon, and I joked about her making explosives or being addicted to opioids, but it looks like I was right. I am in a hostile environment, not knowing the rules and laws of this place. It would be better for me to run, but at the same time I was curious. Probably I would have just kept standing there, but somebody grabbed my hand. It was Olga Dmitrievna and her huge milkers. Why are you standing here? Let's go and see what happened. Can't you ever manage without me? I begged her pitifully. It shouldn't be anything serious, I hope. When we came to the square, there was already a crowd of pioneers. Olga Dmitrievna vigorously pushed through the crowd and approached the crime scene. Obviously, someone had tried to blow up Genda, but the attackers failed. The monument was still standing upright. There was only dim ash traces on the pedestal. Oh, dude, every time she assumed that pose, like the Melkers, bro. I know I say this every time, but it just, every time it happens, it's like the first time, which is pretty darn epic. Gosh darn. Well, who did this? She looked over the crowd of pioneers. Surely it wasn't done by an organized terrorist organization. These guys all came here just to look at what happened. I noticed Oliana and Eliza in the crowd, and it looks like our camp leader noticed them too. You two, come here. They approached reluctantly. Why always me? If you think so. Show me your hands, diva. What's wrong with them? They have very similar voices. I looked closer and saw that they were smeared with black. Bro, when you have them lined up like this, like it really does show that Olga is a 25-year-old milk goddess and Eliza is just a small one. And then Oliana is even smaller than that. I think just for the sake of milkers and like not taking personality into account, I might have to be an Olga supporter at this point. I feel like such a traitor switching sides like this. Gosh darn. Now it's clear. What did you make a bomb with? The junior terrorist seemed to hesitate over whether or not to confess, but then blurted out proudly. Activated carbon, saltpeter, and sulfur. Why exactly the monument? What did this honored man ever do to you? The fighter for the rights of... Besides, he gave me activated carbon. She pointed at me with her finger. The whole square stared at me. Thoughts about the pointlessness of this act due to the small bomb size left me at the very moment. She stole it. I did nothing. Even if he gave it to you, I'm sure that Markapi would never take part in such disgusting antisocial acts. Yes, exactly. I agreed. I could hardly imagine how long she would have kept on scolding Eliza if Electro Nick hadn't popped out at that very moment, shouting, I need a sip of water. Ah, fantastic. I found it. Everyone turned towards him. He held a boot in his hand. Looking boot. Here. Electro Nick boastfully shook it over his head. It's Shurik's boot. Okay, calm down. Tell us in detail where you found it. In the forest. On the way to the old camp. Whispers ran among the pioneers. Old camp? The old camp? Are you sure? Absolutely. What's so special about this old camp? I joined in the conversation. It's nothing special, really, she stammered. One of the Sovietok's legend tells that the story of a young camp leader's ghost living there. She fell in love with a pioneer, but he rejected her, so she killed herself. Epic. She committed harakiri with a kitchen knife. Next day, the boy was hit by a bus. Uliana ran out of the crowd. Bus? I refrained from asking about the route number. But science doesn't acknowledge the existence of ghosts, so we have nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, somebody should go there. Suddenly the crowd started to thin out. Slavia's talking. Olga Dmitrievna, it's almost the night, maybe tomorrow. I turned around and saw Slavia and Lena. What if at night something happens to him? No, today, right now. By the way, where is this place? Electronic roughly described to me the directions and told me the story of the old camp. The camp leader looked at me attentively. If you think that You're the only man here. I looked around the area. Of course. Electronic was quick to flee. I still don't want to walk in the woods alone. If you ask me, I would... Oh, okay. Oh, this is a big boy decision time. That's fucking bonkers. Eliza, Slavia, Uliana, Lena, or I could go alone, which I'm kind of feeling like right now. You know, I'm having an off day, fellas. I ain't gonna lie. Like real life Markapi here, not in-game Markapi. Definitely not Uliana. We can cross that one off the list. Probably not Lena, like even though she's a cutie. Eliza or Slavia? I'll pick this. I went with Eliza. I don't know. We just been playing the tomboy route. I just kind of had to go with it. And Eliza goes with you. It was as if Olga Dmitrievna had read my mind. Why's that? Well, who tried to blow up the monument? And as if there wasn't I like cocking my butt. And if that wasn't enough, who else tried to slander Markapi? She said it in such a voice that Eliza did not dare to argue. Happy now? She blurted out once we were left alone. What do I have to do with this? Was it me who tried to blow up the monument? Eliza grunted and turned away. I'm not going anywhere with you. Oh, please don't. Great then. Excellent. We stood silently for a while, not looking at each other. I dared break the silence first. Is that all? All what? All that you wanted to tell me? Yes, that's all. Do you mind then if I inquire why you tried to blow up the monuments? I was bored. Ah, right. Blowing it up would have definitely cheered you up. Eliza seemed really reluctant to go with me. As for me, however, I've decided to find Shurik after all. It wasn't him who interested me the most, but the abandoned camp. For some reason, I had a feeling that I might find out something there, and I really did not like the idea of going alone at night. So, you scared then? Are you daring me? She gave me a sarcastic smile. Oh no, I'd never. Good luck if you're staying then. I turned around and started walking in the direction where the old camp should have been. Eliza caught up with me at the forest edge. Wait up, Baka. I'm going with you, Baka. Why did you decide to change your mind all of a sudden? I asked ironically. You don't need to know. She snarled and handed me a fleshlight. It was the Alexis Texas shaped... No. It was the alien fleshlight, to be exact. Messed up my own joke, damn it. That was quite wise. I don't know what I would have done there alone in the dark if it wasn't for Eliza. Electro Nick had told us the old building was built right after the war. It looked like a kindergarten or like a barracks, I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. Reading is hard. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. Wawa time. The night forest was completely unlike... Scroll wheel. About to punch my screen. The night forest was completely unlike during the day. Just a couple of hours ago, it seemed like just a small grove where even a blind man wouldn't get lost. However, as the darkness fell, the trees seemed to grow up. The bushes suddenly took up all the free space, and the paths, so wide in daylight, turned into barely visible waves in the dark green forest ocean. The final strokes to this picture were the birds, the insects, and the beast, who were given a concert, each with its own instrument, creating together an amazing yet frightening nocturnal symphony. We walked slowly, Eliza a bit ahead and me in her wake, trying not to fall too far behind. She acted self-assured to a fault. Absolutely not like me. Every rustle of bushes nearby or hoot of an owl overheard made me cringe and look around timidly. Of course, it was obvious that there was not much to fear here. The local woods weren't likely to be teeming with wild beasts, and it seemed there were no people at all in this world, apart from those in the camp. However, the fear, that was my Stephen A. Smith, however, the fear was there on the instinctive level, and I tried to walk carefully and to stay as watchful as I could. Discretion is the better part of valor, after all. Eliza stopped suddenly, so suddenly that I nearly bumped into her. Now where? What? Well, straight ahead, I guess. Are you sure, Baka? I tried to figure out the directions. It looked like we were going the right way, or at least the way Electro Nick suggested. However, without a map, without a GPS, or blown-ass navigation, I wasn't even sure that we were still on the same planet, wherever it was. We haven't taken any turns. We've been walking straight forward all the time, just as Electro Nick said. Then why haven't we made it up to the old camp yet? How should I know? Eliza's rude way of talking was already getting on my nerves. Are we already lost? Why would you say that? We're barely a kilometer away from the camp. So what? She looked visibly sadder. So nothing. If you don't like it, you can go back. Eliza eyed me disappointedly for a while, and then her face changed sharply. Well, I will then. She suddenly turned around and started marching briskly back towards the camp. Good luck there, I shouted as she was going. However, Eliza may be right, and we are in fact lost. In which case, it's not a good idea to stay here alone. The cool night breeze blew stronger, and I shivered. My testicles retracted into my stomach. My scrotum completely shrunk. But going after her would mean losing face. Even worse, it means she's right. No, I'm not ready to accept that. I could have probably spent until morning arguing with myself about this if it weren't for Eliza's scream. My legs carried me on their own towards where she went. About 20 meters on, I nearly fell into a hole, just managing to jump over it at the last moment. As for Eliza, it looked like she had not managed to. I was about to point that flashlight into the darkness when I realized she'd taken it with her. Well, that had to be expected. Are you alive? Yeah. Her muffled voice sounded up from below. Did you break anything? Hell if I know, Baka. A light flickered in the hole. I stepped closer and bent to it to examine how deep it was. The crumbling hole went about 3 meters into the depths, but it was pitch black below. "Help me get out," Eliza yelled angrily. "And how do you imagine I should do that?" "I don't know. Think of something." "Well, what do you see now? Describe it." "Well, it's sort of a tunnel, and... Nah, just a tunnel." "A tunnel? That's weird." "Come on. Get down here." "Is that the best idea you have? I'd rather run to the camp for a rope." "You're gonna leave me alone here?" Eliza's voice lost much of its impudence. "But you're alone down there anyway." "Hey!" She cried out loud and directed the flashlight right into my eyes. "Well, don't panic. Trolls are gonna eat you there. I'll be back in a flash." Eliza was screaming herself into a fit from down below, but I couldn't make out the words. However, I only managed to take a few steps before the ground yielded under my feet, and before I knew it, I was tumbling down. I grabbed a thin root that somehow slowed down my fall, but it snapped under my weight and went flying down with me. "You're alive." I barely opened one eye as I felt a searing spotlight upon me. Put it away." Eliza was squatting next to me and looking at me in a nervous manner. "Any limbs broken?" "I don't know. I've moved my hand and feet. Everything seemed to be fine. Given the height, I was pretty lucky to make it down alive." I barely managed to stand up and examine the crash site. Indeed, we were in some kind of long corridor. There was some kind of heavy wiring all along the walls, and the lamps encased in heavy metal holders attached to the ceiling. In any other situation, I would have guessed that it's a subway service tunnel, but it was hardly like that Sovianok had already reached such a level of infrastructure. Refreshing. This took a little scary turn, I ain't gonna lie. "Where are we?" "I don't know, but we have to get out of here." Climbing the crumbled wall was hardly an option. In fact, I was wondering how we even survived a fall from such a height. "Well, it seems that we've got to find an exit somewhere else." "How do we do that?" Eliza asked, slowly turning pale. Not a single trace of her usual arrogance remained on her face. "Well, I guess... There's gotta be an exit here, right?" "Probably, but which way do we go?" Now, that's a good question. At first glance, it seemed like a good idea to head towards the camp, at least in the direction I thought it was, but I hadn't seen anything there that resembled an exit from the catacombs, and that means that we should rather try the opposite direction. "Give me that." I snatched the fleshlight from Eliza's hand and pointed its light into the darkness. "That way." We were slowly proceeding forward, with Eliza keeping a firm grip on my hand. Oh my gosh, dude, hand holding? I need that so bad. In other circumstances, I might have been surprised, embarrassed, or even rejoiced. How should I know? But right now, I was just eager to get out of here as soon as possible. My bruises from the fall were aching. The blood was pulsing in my head like a heavy pendulum. Even the flickering spotlight that kept illuminating the same cement walls continually wasn't exactly raising our morale. Damn. There is also Shurik. What? Why did we go into the night forest in the first place? To find Shurik. Oh, just forget him. He might have fallen down here just like us. Of course, Eliza has a point. This wasn't exactly the best time to engage in a search mission. If we don't manage to get out, there'd be a search mission for us instead. But I couldn't just take my mind off this thought. It was as if Shurik was standing right before my eyes, giving me a reproachful look. "Look out!" Eliza yelled. I almost crashed into a massive metal door. A biohazard sign immediately caught my eye. This means that we're in a bomb shelter, I mumbled under my breath. Yeah, I've heard of something like that. You have? Why didn't you mention it before? How would I know it'd be important? I guess you're right. Fine. I grasped the door's wheel and pushed it as hard as I could, trying to turn it. The rusty metal grated but refused to budge. Stop slacking. Help me. Eliza hesitated a little, but then grabbed the handle and started to pull. Finally, we managed to turn the wheel and the door opened. Ooh, there's a bed. It wasn't hard to mistake the room we entered for as anything else. It was definitely a bomb shelter. Cabinets full of gas masks and dry rations, lots of equipment, bunk beds, and air recirculation systems. There was everything one could need to survive a nuclear war. Well, at least to survive the first blast. Eliza clenched my arm even tighter. What is it? What? She blabbered under her breath. I'm scared. What are you scared of? Indeed, what of? We tumbled down into an abandoned bomb shelter. Now we're wandering here in the dark, trying to find an exit. Oh yeah, nothing to be afraid of. Those thoughts made me squirm, and I instinctively drew nearer to Eliza. She didn't say a thing, just blushed a little and turned her back to me. Well, in any case... What? We have to keep searching for an exit. Well, there's another door. Indeed, there was a door on the far wall, just like the one that we came through. However, no matter how hard I tried to open it, it was stuck. Need some help? Nope, it's jammed for good. I glanced around the room, trying to find something that would work as a lever, and noticed a crowbar in the far corner. Great. Eliza gave me a blank stare. Watch it. However, I still couldn't move the handle even an inch using the crowbar. Totally exhausted, I flopped on a neatly made bunk and gave a sigh. We have to walk back. But we just came from there. Eliza seemed to regain a bit of her self-control, as well as her usual rudeness. Well, you can stay here if you want. There's water, ration kits, probably the radio's still working. She looked at me spitefully but said nothing. My whole body ached terribly. It was only now that I tried to relax that I began to realize how badly. A deep wound on my leg was bleeding profusely. My hands were heavily bruised. Blood was thickening in my hair. And are you okay? I asked Eliza, either just out of courtesy or because I was really worried about her. It took her some time to answer. How can we be okay in a situation like this? Well, I mean that... I pointed to the wound on my leg. Oh! Cried Eliza. We need to sanitize it urgently. No need, I'll survive. Oh, stop. We must do it, or you'll risk getting infected, and then they'll take your leg off. My granddad lost his leg that way in the war. Eliza looked truly concerned, and I decided not to argue. Okay, but it's kind of a long way to the infirmary. Hang on. She smiled and started to rummage through the cabinets. There was a fair chance of finding some kind of medicine in a bomb shelter, and soon enough, Eliza pulled out a first aid kit with a triumphant look. Okay, hold still. Well, I'll try. Treating the wound with an iodine-soaked cotton swab felt like the touch of a red-hot iron. I clenched my teeth and hissed with pain. Oh, come on, it's not that painful. It is. Maybe you should try it yourself. It was easier with my other wounds, and soon enough I looked like a leopard, all covered in brown spots. Thanks. Don't you think that was anything special? We just had to treat your injuries. Eliza snorted and turned her back on me. Sure. I refrained from arguing and got up from the bunk. Even a short rest had definitely been good for me. Well, shall we go? Eliza clenched my arm, walking closely in step with me. We headed back slowly, carefully looking for a hole in the ceiling. The tunnel seemed endless. We couldn't find the place where we fell down. Not after 5 nor even 10 minutes. Are we lost? Eliza asked sadly. It might be possible to get lost in the forest. It just came to me that's exactly what we'd accomplished half an hour ago. So, to refrain from scaring her even further, I continued with confidence. But this is a single straight tunnel. You can't get lost here. So, when are we going to end up then? My words didn't seem to calm Eliza down enough. Well, I'll get out of here. There's always an exit. Really? Of course there is. The workers that built it somehow got back up to the surface, didn't they? Yeah, I guess. It appeared that she was trying hard to look as bold as usual, but it wasn't turning out well. In the dim light, it was evident that Eliza was shivering. A look of extreme exertion was plastered on her face. Refreshing. Fine, let's move forward. In a few minutes, I noticed a hole in the floor. It looked like a shell crater, large enough to get ourselves through. What's down there? Hell if I know. I kneeled and pointed the light downwards. Damp ground. Some kind of rail tracks? Must be a mine. Eliza looked at me questioningly. Of course, we could easily sidestep the hole, but my instincts insisted that we wouldn't encounter anything good proceeding down the tunnel either. There would be either a dead end or yet another jammed door. On the other hand, it was naive to believe that we would find an exit in the mines. We could give it a try. In the worst case, we'll just come back. It's low enough to let us climb back up later. Her face took on a suffering expression. Then Eliza turned away from the light and quietly said, "If you say so." As I thought, we were in a mine. Miles of rust-eaten tracks stretched far down away the corridors. I could virtually see the overloaded mine carts creaking along these tracks ages ago. The walls were propped up by rotten beams, and water occasionally dripped from the ceiling. I'm going to call it there, actually. That's a pretty good place to stop. We're now in Minecraft world, so that's pretty epic. And we're with a cute girl, which is even more epic. So, that was episode 9, I think. Yeah, I think that was part 9. Either way, if it was part 10, I apologize. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That would be epic of you. And as always, help me find a girlfriend. And bye-bye.